Let me tell you, the first night that I slept through with my gold and silver in a safety deposit box was a blissful night's sleep. A lot of people cannot necessarily stand the idea of being away from their precious metals, but safety deposit boxes are a real great way of protecting your gold and silver. So let's do a deep dive into why they are good and some of their limitations and things to think about if you are concerned about the security and safety of your gold and silver. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a warm welcome to you all joining me for another precious metal ramble. Today we are going to ramble about safety deposit boxes. Are they any good? Should you consider getting one? At what point is it appropriate that you might need one to protect your stack? What are the options? Are they cheap? Are they expensive? Things to consider like insurance. A whole host of different things to talk about in today's video. So let's dive in and have a good old ramble about it. Remember, I am not giving formal financial advice. I'm just rambling about gold and silver. So do share your own thoughts and experiences down in that comment section. It'd be great to hear from you as to what you think. A couple of quick announcements before we go on. We have got two more of the Era Variety Britannias available on eBay. There are links in the description below. This one on the right is the upside down 180 degree die rotation King Charles, a really cool coin. The last one got over £1,000. And then we have the 90 degree rotation errors of the Queen. This one is a super cool piece as well. In fact, some might say even a little bit more interesting than the 180, because you might not even know that that's the error. You might just see it and think that's how the Americans do it, so that's how we do it. But it really isn't. But this one is really wonky and obvious. So if you're interested in those, go and check them out. Now, gold versus silver. Safety deposit boxes, that's where we're going to start. Honestly, if you're going to get a safety deposit box, you want to be putting gold in it, because putting silver in a safety deposit box, whilst might sound like a great idea, it's so space inefficient that it won't really pay you any dividends. And for the size of box that you might need to get, you'll probably end up paying a considerable amount in cash over a period of time, a year, 2 years, 5, 10, whoever, or however long you are going to get and take your box for. Having silver in there, it's going to basically end up being cost neutral, or cost negative, I should say. With gold, I feel like you've got so much more value in a small space, and to demonstrate that ratio, we've got over here a beautiful 100 ounce bar of silver. And the reason that I hid it with these three coins is that this is 0.25, 0.35, 1.35 ounces of gold, which is approximately 2,100-ish pounds. Now, that's of course not factoring in premiums on some of the slightly more, premium fractional pieces there, but about that, 2,200. And that is about what a 100 ounce bar is worth. Maybe a little bit more for a Johnson Matthey bar like this, but you can see straight away the massive difference in size, volume, and value of these two items. And if you know anything about safety deposit boxes, it's very simple. The bigger the box, the more you pay. So if you've got a box that is, let's say, the exact size of this 100 ounce bar, the maximum that you can fit in there is 100 ounces. That is not great, but think how many bits of gold you can stick in there. Now, if you had a 100 ounce gold bar, which would be a beautiful sight to behold, it would be smaller than this one because it's more dense. So it would be, I can't remember the exact ratio, but it's just about, it's not double, it's under double. But the point is, if you had this bar in gold, it would probably be about 180 ounces. So you can see, you could either store 2,200 or, maths I can't even do, let's quickly get the old calculator out, see if anybody can beat them, or beat me on that. If we have 180 ounces times 1,600, you could have £288,000 worth of gold in a big 180 ounce bar in your safety deposit box. Now, of course, that's just ridiculous. Nobody's going to have one giant bar of gold. But the point here is that the value ratio is so much less. And I would argue it is absolutely pointless to safety deposit box silver. You're going to be having even more space issues if you have things in tubes like these beautiful Australian Kangaroos. These will be up for sale later this week, by the way. They are part of the Buyers Club. Somebody has sent these in for me to sell. I've only just taken delivery of them today, so I will be processing them and testing them and making sure everything is above board. But they are beautiful pieces of silver. But in a tube, they take up a way more space. So we've got 100 ounces here. These are 25 in a tube. We've got 25, so 100 of these, 4 tubes. You can see it's space-wise, it is bigger to have them in the tubes. You've got air in there, you've got wasted space in there from the tube itself. Yeah, you could put the coins in just loose, but it's not very good for them and it's not very practical for them. So what are the practical solutions then for a safety deposit box? If I'm just trying to put some gloves on, difficult to do on camera. I've got 2 left-hand gloves, that's why. I tell you what, we'll just have some of these Australian kangaroos in the left hand and we can have a look at them. So what are the solutions then? So don't put silver in a safety deposit box. Does that mean you shouldn't even own silver? No, you can still own silver and have silver, but I think there are probably better practical solutions to have for home storage for your silver, or if you really are concerned about it, then yes, you can get a bigger box, but they're more expensive. So this brings me on to what are the options. Now, a lot of people think safety deposit box and they go, oh, well, that's just an easy solution. We'll get it and it'll be fine. We'll have a really good storage solution for our gold and silver. Now, they're not actually that cheap. Certainly here in the UK, the US, they're probably a little bit more competitive in terms of price as there are more of them. It's more common of a thing in the US. In the UK, unfortunately, there are a lot of banks that have basically closed down all of their safety deposit box offerings. There are not very many banks that still offer it. And some of the banks that do, it's not cheap. There's a good one here in the United Kingdom called Metro Bank. They have vaults in various different cities and they've got a pretty good network of them. But they're not cheap. If you're getting a box that would store, a significant amount of silver for one thing, you're going to be paying £500, £600, £700 a year. If you're getting a smaller box that you just want to have some gold in, then that is a little bit more economical, but you're still talking at least a couple of £100 a year to store your gold. So there's a question of exactly kind of at what point is it economically viable to store and what kind of storage fees are acceptable. If you think that you might be able to have 1% of your holdings per year, if you hold that for 10, 15 years, your 10, 15% of those initial investment is just gone in that storage fee. And that's not factoring in insurance. Now, a lot of people actually just misunderstand that a safety deposit box is an automatically insured product, that the supplier of that service will insure whatever is in there. That is not the case. In fact, nearly every single vaulted company or vaulting company or precious metal, or not even precious metal, every bank that offers safety deposit boxes, they do not insure whatever is in there, and they recommend that you take out third-party private insurance. And you can do that, and I had actually, before I filmed this video, a quick look to see what the prices might be, and there are companies out there that will happily give you £250,000 worth of insurance, which is quite a lot. You could have a pretty significant amount of gold in there for that amount. Well, as I said, nearly 180 ounces for 288,000, and that would cost about £390 to £400 a year, which is quite a lot. Again, is it a lot though if you've maxed that out? If you've got £250,000 worth, let's say you've got a box that's just £500 a year, probably get away with a slightly smaller box for that amount of gold, but you're probably looking at about a total of 800, 900 a year, probably. 800 or 900 a year out of 250,000 is a very small percentage, and in my opinion, if you have that much gold, it's a worthwhile endeavour to do. Now, the practicalities of a safety deposit box is what a lot of people are put off by, and it's something that I definitely am not a massive fan of. However, I do use secure storage, and I do think that it's worth doing even with the impracticalities of retrieval. Now, there's been a big test of this kind of thing of late, in that in 2020, of course, the world locked down because of the pandemic. And in that situation, a lot of vaulting companies were not able to allow access to people to their vaults until the government allowed things to open up a little bit. That was the thing that really put me off putting lots of stuff in a safe deposit box that you might want. That's one of the reasons why I still keep some gold at home, it's very, very important to have access to your metals. And if you are having a safety deposit box, it's worth thinking about what would happen again in the future if there was an emergency situation. Now, of course, with the pandemic, things opened up and we were able to go into our safety deposit boxes again. But if there was something like a zombie apocalypse or a war or a, just something massive like the pound completely collapsed and everything in the world just went to poo, would you be able to go into your vault and get it? There's an argument that you could still, if there was any kind of rule of law left and sensibility in this world, but not to be guaranteed at all. So it's one of those things that a lot of people get put off by, and they look at home solutions instead. And there are a lot of different home solutions, and I know a lot of our US brethren watching this video to this point will have all of their home defense mechanisms in place, and they'll have their pew-pews all ready to go in the event of that. But we're not quite so lucky in the United Kingdom for those kind of laws. So for us, it's very much, if somebody breaks in, and also I can never imagine myself, even if I did have the home protection methods of our beautiful American cousins, would never envisage using it. That's not for me, and I think a lot of people, 99% of people, would not really want that. But there's a lot that I suppose maybe will. And anyway, the point here is that if somebody breaks in and puts a gun to your head, you're going to give them your gold and silver. So get creative in your home environment. If you've got a safe, don't necessarily put all your eggs in one basket. Hide some gold. Gold is better than silver. That's what I've always said. For hiding a piece of gold, you can hide an ounce of gold super easily. Where are you going to hide it? They're not going to find it. You could probably hide a 100-ounce bar of silver, but realistically, if you've got a large amount, if you've got the 250,000 example, it's going to be difficult. And just imagine how you'd feel inside if you lost £250,000 worth of gold because somebody broke in and either took it when you were there or found it when you weren't there. Not good at all. So a safety deposit box definitely has its place. Secure storage definitely has its place. I think a lot of people write it off because they don't like the idea of paying for it, when actually that is really a small fry, can be anyway, in a large stack. And also, I think a lot of people are put off by the inability to get it and hold it. And there's that old adage, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. I think that's somewhat of a kind of archaic way of looking at things because we're in this different modern world now, but I will concede that there are situations where it would be difficult to gain access to your safety deposit boxes. If you had another pandemic, for example, it could potentially put the cat amongst the pigeons in terms of getting access to money that maybe you will absolutely need in those situations, because if the world has turned off and you've run out of money because you can't go to work, then yeah, you need to go and sell some gold and silver and you can't get it. It would be difficult. So yeah, interesting topic, I know, and I would love to know what you all think of this safety deposit box thing. I will say, for those ramblers listening to the end, when I finally did go and get one, it was the best decision I've ever made. The first time that we had a night in bed where we just knew there wasn't that liability in the house, it was very cathartic. It's very, very good and worth doing. So worth checking out if you've got a serious amount of cash at home in the form of gold and silver. If you are stacking for a long term and you want to get a lot of money into a secure place, then silver might not be the thing for you to consider. But anyway, that's it from me. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you on the next video. If you are interested in getting hold of any of these kangaroos in the course of the next couple of days, they will be listed for sale on our website. They're not up for sale right now, though if you go over to my website, you won't see them. I know I'm going to get emails and people going, I want to buy the kangaroos that you talked about. They are not for sale yet. They will be soon, but not now. We've got quite a lot. We've got 200 for sale, so they'll go up when they go up. If you're interested in the auctions on eBay for the Era Britannias, then go and check those out as well. There are links down in the description for those. That's it from me. We'll see you on the next one. As always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.